Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a mock system design interview with a Apple software engineer here, AlphaCode. AlphaCode is also a YouTuber. He has a YouTube channel called AlphaCode. And yeah, would you like to introduce yourself to the channel?
Yeah. So my name is Anatoly. Yeah, I do like YouTube, and I also am working at Apple. Been working at Apple for the last like 5 months. Haven't done a design round since I got the job, I think. So we'll see how this goes.
Okay, let's see. So today we're going to be designing Netflix.
Okay. All right. Do you want me to just get started with like requirements and all that stuff?
Yep, you can go ahead.
Okay. So Netflix. So let's see. So I guess Netflix has a lot of parts. So is there a particular part you are interested in?
I'd like us to focus on the recommendations slash personalization as well as the video, high quality video playback side of it. Just those two.
Okay. So high quality video playback. Okay. So basically, I guess to make it simple, I'll just
Mhm.
write some like requirements, and then you can let me know if I'm like on the right track. I haven't really done recommendations, so but okay. So I'm thinking like, can we search for a video, or do we just assume we just have the right URL to watch?
Yes, you can search for a video as well as there'll be a
Okay.
personalized feed as well.
Okay, so we can search for a video and watch. We also have a personalized feed. Okay. And then we can basically like click on videos and watch them, I guess, right? Videos, watch, pause, all that stuff.
Yep.
Uh, and and we can watch them in like, I don't think Netflix allows you to watch in different resolutions. So can we just say, yeah, it'll just like watch in one resolution or something?
Resolutions will differ depending on the user's internet connection. That's the
Okay. Click on videos, watch depending on user's internet connection. Okay. And this personalized feed will basically just be based on like their like history and all that other stuff, right? Like their search history, what they watch, things like that.
yeah, precisely.
Okay. So so I think these are the main requirements I could think of, like search for stuff, get some results, click on it, watch it, and then also have your feed that you can click stuff on and like watch it. Does that sound about right? Is there anything else?
Yep.
Okay. So I guess we'll move on to the non-functional. All right. So obviously we want this to be like uh very high like throughput and scalability because Netflix is scale. So maybe like 1 billion users or something. We can get into like exact numbers later. Let's see. So I'm trying to think of like other things we really want to have here. So in terms of like availability and consistency, like we're not really uploading anything. Um, so I guess the only thing I could think of for the availability or consistency, like we'll go for like availability um, in terms of like personalization updates. Personalization updates. So like if I click on some stuff or if I do some action that is relevant to changing my personalized feed, maybe there will be some processor that does this in the background, but we don't need this thing to be like uh, super fast, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a good enough assumption to make.
Okay. Um, yeah, can't really think of anything else for now. So maybe if I can, I will later. Is there anything you would want to add, or is this good?
Yeah, you said we have around 1 billion users. So then, what does that mean for what our latency should look like?
For a latency, I mean, it depends for like different things, like watching the video or like what I guess. Like I guess we want the videos to load quickly. Like want videos. I mean, I'm not super familiar with like video stuff, but yeah, I want videos to load quickly and like not pause, things like that, and also adjust to our internet dynamically. So like if our internet gets worse, the video quality should go down, but we should basically still like not lag too much, you know? Like if our internet gets a lot worse, we shouldn't be showing a super high resolution that takes forever to load. Something like that.
Yep, makes sense.
Okay. Is this good to keep going?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll write down like what entities we want to have here, and then I'll go into exact detail later. So we want to have a user. We want to have a video. We also want to, I guess, support like if you watch a video and then you come back, you want to know where you're at in that video or something, right? Mm-hmm. Something like that. So we probably want to have like a user session or something, where this will basically tell us like if you're a user and a video, like where you are in the video, something like that. And then when you're done with the video, we can maybe like delete it or something. That way, if you're like in the middle of a video and then you click on the video again, you don't have to like watch it from the start. Okay. And then there's just like personalization stuff. So I'm not super familiar with like ML, I guess, in terms of like personalization. I'm not sure how this would be stored. Can we say that, like, can we basically just say this will be some other service that handles this? Like the actual like figuring out based on what you do, the feed? Like, or yeah, I guess can you describe a little bit more how you want me to handle like making personalizations?
I guess yes, you can assume that there is a service that handles the actual things that to make the feed. But in terms of like, I just want you to think about what would you be giving that service in order to make sure the feed is as personalized as possible.
Yeah. So I mean, to make it as simple as possible, we can basically just say anytime we watch a video, we will just give that service an event of like this user is watching this video. Or anytime we search for something, maybe we can also give that service that event, if that makes sense. So like if we search for something, that service should get that information. And if we click on a video, that service should get that information. I'm sure there's like other stuff, but those seem like the most basic things to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Would there be any other ones that would be key to making a personalized experience better?
I mean, I guess you can have things like, you know, on Netflix, you can probably pick categories and stuff that you prefer, or like whatever movie types that you prefer. I don't use that stuff that much, but I'm assuming stuff like that exists. So you can fill out some kind of preferences, and then they can use that.
Okay, that's fine.
So thinking about it, I guess, yeah, we probably want to have some like user preferences thing. And this will just be like something they fill out and then we'll store.
Yeah, that would actually be my next question. Like, how would you deal with a user just got on the app? How would you know what to recommend them?
I mean, assuming you don't have like any other information from them, I guess you would pick something like most watched, like things that are just popular. Okay. So that would be one way, I guess, like without you taking in the user preferences. If you don't know anything, you can just pick stuff that's most popular, right? So Netflix has like a top 10 list or whatever it is. So on their initial preferences page, like if you don't have enough information, or even if you do, you can always have that stuff. So you can have like their preferences plus just the super popular stuff. And if you don't have anything for their preferences, you will basically just only have very popular stuff. And then based on what they watch, then you will like update it from there.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. So do we want to handle here them actually filling out this user preference thing and updating it, or are we more concerned with actually giving that system, like, I would assume this user preferences would just like not be in our system. It would be like in a separate system, and then we can just get the feed from like that system. And then also like our only thing that we'd have to do is make sure that when they watch a video or when they search for stuff, then we have to give that system events that they can then use to update the user's like personalized feed. Does that make sense? So I'd actually prefer taking this after this.
Yeah, that's fine. I'd like you to incorporate into the design, yeah, a user making some event and then it's being passed to the service, the
Yes.
passed to the feedback
Okay.
personalization service. Yep.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so what, and I don't think we need this in the table. I'm thinking here, like whenever this happens, we can just generate that event and then just send it over on like Kafka or something, and then that other service can like listen for it and pick it up and do stuff with it.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I guess we can move on to the API. So we want to be able to search for a video and watch. So what does this look like? So basically here we need to do some kind of a search. And then we need to get a list of videos that are related to this thing. And I guess I'm not going to go super high, like super low level on how the search works, but basically there's going to be some, like, if they type in something, you can look for like actors with that name. You can look for movies with that name. If they type in a category, like I think in Netflix search, there is no actual like pick thing you pick. You just type in some words and you hit enter. So is that kind of the thing we're trying to do? Or do we want to be able to have a bunch of like filters that they could select?
Yeah. I guess you could think of it the same way as Netflix. It's just type the words and then hit enter.
Okay. So I'm not going to go into detail like how we actually like how we figure out what to get from their search, because I think that would be quite complicated. So I'm mostly just going to show the API that they type into and then the response we give. Is that okay?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, so we need to figure out like the name of this thing. I don't know. We'll call it like search or something. And then we'll pass in a query here. And so this will just be their like query string or something. And this will be what they have, what they typed. And here we'll just return. So basically what we want to do is for every single movie or whatever show, anything, we just want to return some kind of object that can display this thing. So we'll call this like movies, where basically this will be just enough to click on it. So maybe it'll have like a title, image link, stuff like that. And then as they click on stuff, then like more things will happen. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So that handles the search. The personalized feed is, I guess, we'll just go on like our feed page. And then, so here, I think the way I'm going to do it is you can go on your feed page, and then because like you have to be logged into Netflix, you're going to have like a JWT that's going to have your user credentials. And based on those user credentials, the server can figure stuff out. Because you don't want to just say like feed, user ID equals whatever, because then anyone can like use this thing. So instead I'll just use like their login token to get that. So this will also give you like their feed, which is like a bunch of movies that they can click on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. But how would you handle the continue watching section?
Continue watching. I see. So for every movie, we have to know if they started watching it, right, or not. And so basically, or I guess what you mean is on the feed, there is a continue watching section that is like everything that they are already watching that we need to be able to let them know, like, hey, you're actually watching this, and then they can continue. And then the rest of it will just be like stuff they can click on. Is that right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So then what we can do is we can, depending on how we want to handle the continue watching, I like, because, let's say I watch like 100 movies. I probably don't want to give them like all 100. I maybe want to give them like their most recent 5 or something, right? That they are continuing watching. So the way we could do that is for all of these, we can return movies, and we can also return this like continue watching movies. And this can be 2 separate things that we return. So it'll just be a JSON of like, here's the movies that you're not watching, and here's this, and I can explain how this works. So basically we have these like user sessions, right? So these user sessions will have a user, a movie, and maybe a lot like last time watched or something like that, or like, yeah, or like wherever you ended it. So it could be as simple as, for both of these, we can just return like 5 or something, or whatever, X movies in the user session, where user is user, and last time watched, or like basically sorted by last time watched, something like that. So this would be just to be like a field in the database, so that we can just do this query and it'll give us like the top 5 or wherever the top X, and then we can display this along with the other stuff. Does that make sense?
Yep, that makes sense.
Okay. Okay, and obviously you could do better stuff, but this would just give you something. Okay, so click on videos and watch depending on user's internet connection. Okay, so when we click on a video, so this would basically have to be on, yeah, so when we click on a video, there's like 2 different cases. There's a case of we are continuing watching and we start watching. And I think you can handle it kind of similarly. So basically we just want to do something like videos, and then this would have like a video ID. So be like this. And then we also need to give a timestamp. So I think this happens on like Netflix, YouTube. You basically need to know like, where am I starting this video? And then if you are continuing, then you will get that user session. So you will know like in that user session, there will be info of like what time they were at when they stopped. And for now, we're going to make a simple design. So it won't be exactly like to the second accurate. I guess that's a non-functional requirement I can ask. Like if I stop on a video, or, you know, like say I'm watching and then my internet goes out or whatever, and I continue, how accurate does my time have to be compared to where I was at?
I believe we should aim for it to be as accurate as possible. But I
Okay.
think the max leniency we could give is about a minute.
Yeah, so I think a minute would be very easy, basically. Like, so I can write this minute, or a minute or less would be very easy. If you wanted like 1 second or something, it would try to be harder. So minute, leniency, max, and continue watching. And I think this is a pretty reasonable request, because realistically, when you watch a movie and you come back, you're not going to remember what second you stopped on. So I think this will make it a simpler design, and as long as we're like kind of close, then this is fine. And I think actually this is what YouTube and stuff do, from my experience. Like when I turn something off, it doesn't come back at like the exact second or something. So
Yeah,
what we
it
can do
is.
here is, so we can have this API for videos ID. Well, I guess I didn't say if these are like gets or whatever. So this will be like get. Yeah, I haven't made like user-facing APIs in a while because I'm mostly doing infra. So in this thing, this will be a get. And basically what we're going to do here is we need to get, I'm just going to make it simple right now, but it will be more complicated, and I don't think this will work long term. So I'm going to say we get the whole video, but we definitely don't get the whole video, and then I'll break it down into like probably what needs to happen that's better, because the videos can be like super big and stuff like that. So is that fine? Like I'll just say I'll return the video here, but this won't really be that.
Yep, that's fine.
If that makes sense. Okay. So we'll just get the video at the timestamp. Okay. Okay. So the next thing we need to do is we need a post to user sessions. So this is basically like user sessions. And we need to provide the user, which will be in the token, and then we can do like a movie ID. And then this will be a timestamp as well. So basically what needs to happen here is like every once in a while, we need to update the user session with, oh, hey, they're currently on this thing. And we can do this right now, maybe with like a polling, maybe every 30 seconds, or not polling, but like every 30 seconds, we'll just say like, hey, we're here, update the user session. And then that way, if they ever drop or the internet dies, when we get the feed, then we're going to have this info, and we will know exactly when they stopped, and we can pull the movie from that timestamp. So we'll have that, and then this will basically kind of do the same thing, like video at the timestamp. So I guess technically this patch won't do anything. This patch will just do like, they'll just return 200, because we're not actually getting the movie. We're just updating where we're at. And then the get is going to give us like the next bit. Okay. So then we need to also delete this thing. So because like, let's say after we're done watching, we want to delete the session. So this will be like movie ID. Okay. Then what else do we need? Let's see if we covered everything. Personalized feed, click on videos. So we're able to search, we're able to get our feed, we're able to get the movies, I think we're able to do everything. If I missed one, I'll come back to it. So are we good with going into the design here, or is there anything else you'd like me to cover?
I have a couple of questions. You see, you
Sure.
had one entity here, video. In this
Uh-huh.
entity video, is this storing the whole video as well as the video metadata, or are you separating those two out to different
I
entities?
see. Yeah, so for the video, we definitely need video metadata, right? Like just like video info. Um, we probably also need like video metadata, video metadata needs to be in one, I guess, where this is just like video info. Um, I think the next thing we need is probably like chunks or something. So basically, when you get this video, you're not going to get a video that's like the full video. You're going to get like a small bit of the video. So I think what we need to do is like we need to break down a video into video chunks that will be in different resolutions and in different timestamps. So if we want to watch, some video at like timestamp whatever 60 minutes, we'd say like, okay, what's the chunk at that time, and then like what resolution are they watching in, and then that's the thing we need to be returning. So I think maybe we need like this. So we need this video chunks, and I'll go into like exact database design for that. But I think this makes sense, right? So video metadata will basically be the details. Video chunks will be the actual like chunks we need to give the user one chunk at a time. Does that make sense?
Yep, that's fine. Thanks.
And I think this get will actually not be the video. It will be like the video chunk. We also probably need to give the like resolution we want to get the right resolution. And then same thing here, or actually no. So yeah, basically we'd pass like, I don't know exactly how you check for like connection, but let's say there's like some client thing that can do that. So the client can just like check what's my speed, and then based on that, it can make a get request of the right resolution that I need. Does that make sense?
Yep, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
Anything else?
I had one more. How come you went for patch instead of put in the user sessions?
So put. I mean, I basically never. I don't even remember what to use put for, but patch is like update. So this will be an update because we're basically we have a user session already, right? And all we need to do is just say like we're updating the timestamp we're at. I think put is like get or create, and patch is like I know it's there, so I need to patch.
Okay.
Yep. And from my experience, like I basically almost never use put.
Okay, fair enough. Cool.
Okay. All right.
You can go ahead and
I guess we also need to like create. Yeah, we need to create a user session, but that would be like the same thing. So it'd be like post, and then this won't have a timestamp because we're always going to start at the beginning. Because like when you make a session in a movie, you never start from like the middle. So, but these are like pretty straightforward. Maybe I missed some other deletes or something, but this is like the main stuff you need. Okay, can I start making the design?
No problem. Yeah, you can.
Okay. So let's see. Make this smaller. Okay. So we have a client, and then we'll have like an API gateway.
Could you make it a bit smaller just so I can keep it in beside the text?
I actually just zoomed out. Maybe you can try that too, but yeah, I'll try to make it smaller. Like in Excalibur on the bottom, I have it at like 50%. So that would help. But I can, is that better? I don't know.
Yeah, that's better. Sorry.
Okay, so we have a client, we have an API gateway. So let's just walk through how each of these things happen. So if we search for a video and watch, basically we need like some kind of search service, right? We could separate these out. So we can have a search service. So they would basically give us like a video with like, or they'd give us a query string. So we get a query string, we'd get the person, and then we'd have a DB. And I think for the DB, I'm just way more familiar with Postgres, and I think either one, like anything works these days. So I'm just going to go with Postgres if that works for you.
Postgres for. Sorry, could you repeat that again? I didn't hear you correctly.
Yes, I'm going to go for Postgres because there are relationships here, and there isn't super nested stuff as far as what I'm seeing. So I'm just going to go with Postgres to make the DB for all these things.
For each of the
and entities? Also you can. What was that?
Did you say, oh, you want to use Postgres for each of the entities or
No,
specific?
I'll have a Postgres overall, and then I'll put the entities in Postgres. I'm just going to say the DB I'm using for this service will be Postgres.
Okay.
Okay.
This is for the search service.
The search, you can probably do something better later on. Actually thinking about it. So the search, let me think about it for a second. In a search, you have to do a lot of complicated stuff. So I guess I guess I could say that now. Like typically the best solution for search is Elasticsearch. And that's just because you can do a bunch of like non-exact searching. There's also some like basically not straightforward searching. And also if we have it separately, then this search isn't gonna bog down our like main DB. So I guess I'll add that in now. So I'll have Elasticsearch here. And then the main problem with Elasticsearch with a Postgres as well, like if you have two DBs, they need to be kept in sync, right? So like if I update something, then the Elasticsearch needs to also update. So I'm trying to think of like in our service, what are we updating that Elasticsearch needs to know about when what we search for? Actually, I think in this case, the things we care about, Elasticsearch won't update on because Elasticsearch will. I mean, if Elasticsearch depends on like personalizations and all that stuff, our service isn't going to be handling that. It's going to be like the personalization service is going to be handling that. But if we make it as simple as like they type in a query string and then we don't even care about personalization, we're just going to do like, you know, movies that have the queer string in it or like author or anything related in the movie or whatever, any kind of that stuff, then the only time Elasticsearch would need to get updated is when the movie gets updated. And we never update movies or upload movies or anything in our service. So it would be pretty easy to keep in sync in terms of us. So basically what we could do is we can query here for the search service. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I just kind of wonder, why did you choose Postgres over something like Cassandra, which is NoSQL? Why did you choose an SQL rather than NoSQL database here?
So there are relationships here. Like in a video, there are video chunks. In a user, there's a user session. So this is also not super nested. And I don't think we're going to have, like looking at this, we don't have a ton of writes. Like I guess we have a lot of writes to the user session, but that's about it. But it's not that many. So I think Cassandra you'd want to use if you have like crazy amount of writes, but we're mostly getting things. And also, like I said, these days, realistically, even if you had a lot of writes, you can scale Postgres to a lot of writes and things like that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But in here we're prioritizing availability over consistency, and between SQL and NoSQL databases, which ones are which one is better, will give us better a much better trust in our availability than consistency.
Well, in terms of availability and consistency, like it. So if you have a distributed database, which you probably do here, the like Postgres just guarantees like atomic operations, but if it's distributed, it doesn't guarantee that. So you might like update one, you know, shard of the database, and then the other ones still have to like update to have that like in sync. But yeah, basically like Mongo and things like that don't guarantee atomic operations. So I guess technically Mongo would give you better availability if that's what you're asking, but also from personally using Postgres for like every service I have, it doesn't really matter. And like the only time I would use Cassandra is if we had some crazy write system. And I'm also not super familiar with Cassandra. So like I don't exactly know, like I know roughly how it works, but I'm not going to give you as much details as I will be able to with Postgres. And I know Postgres would be able to work here if that makes sense.
Okay, so you believe Postgres will be able to handle this 1 billion users? Like this
Yeah,
exactly.
because
Okay.
you can just shard Postgres like infinitely. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
And I think if you look at some, you know, distributed system stuff, basically like I think Instagram used Postgres or something like that. Instagram has like 1 billion users and a bunch of other stuff. I think like Shopify said they use Postgres also like crazy amounts. So I think these days it's not like if you use Postgres you can't scale. You can. It's just a little bit more difficult. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. So here, so basically we need to talk about like what data we actually have here. So we have a user and like what data do we actually need in a user? So we obviously need an ID. I don't think we care about too much stuff. in the user, like this isn't super relevant for us. So this will be like, name, email, whatever other stuff. I don't think this is super relevant for us. I think all we really care about is like the user ID. So I'm not going to go into like a detail on any other stuff in the user. Let's see, video metadata. So this is more like, maybe, I don't know if video metadata is the best. Maybe this like video details or something would be probably better. So we can rename it. So basically this will be an ID, this will be a name, this will be like some other stuff that's relevant here, like actors or something, like whatever, stuff like that. I don't think, I'm trying to think like, what does Netflix actually provide? I don't think Netflix actually provides that much information to you about something you watch, right? Just like name, maybe like an actor or two, release date or whatever. It doesn't have some crazy stuff.
Okay. We don't need to like name every single one, but
Uh-huh.
but you would need to have some sort of field there for video subtitles.
I see. Okay, yeah. So I guess I didn't cover subtitles at all. So let's think about how subtitles would work. So subtitles basically would need to work with like, let me think about it. I guess like as you're watching a movie, you need to know where you're at, right? And then depending on where you're at, it would basically give you like the subtitle for that section. So what I'm thinking is that we probably need a separate table for that. So it'd be up here. And the subtitle would basically be like an ID, a video ID, and then probably like a timestamp. And what we need to do here, and we probably need to like when we call get videos at a timestamp. I mean, I guess we can make two calls, but we can do basically like have another get here that's like get videos ID, and then we can provide a timestamp here. So this will be like videos ID subtitles, something like that. And this would provide an array of subtitles. And I think something like that, like I know from YouTube, basically just gives you like timestamps and like some text, right? So it might say at like 00. It might be like, hey, whatever, the video started or something. And then like at 0 and like 5 seconds, it would say some other thing, and so on. So is that kind of like what you envision subtitles looking like? Basically just like a timestamp and some text. And then we can just match that up as we go through the video.
I guess I'm trying to see. I'm seeing what you're explaining here, but from what I understand, you're saying that we're gonna be making a get request over and over again to
Uh-huh.
this place to get subtitles every time we reach a new timestamp.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that's efficient? Going like, knowing the scale of this, do you believe that's efficient?
So it depends how often, like, I'm not super familiar with video chunking, but let's say every 30 seconds you can get a video chunk, right? So, well, I mean, there's two things we can do, right? We can either get it all right away, but then we'd have to have a ton of stuff on the client. And depending on where you watch this stuff, like your client might be like some old phone or something. And I don't know how efficient that would be, right? Like imagine you get all the subtitles for a video at the same time. Like I would have to see, but those would be the two different trade-offs, right? Either get them all right away or some kind of chunking strategy, depending on how many subtitles you can get basically at once. And that like I haven't done subtitles, so there would just be some like optimal amount you can get at one time. Does that make
Okay,
sense?
yeah, that's okay for the scale of this video. It's fine. For this interview,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah, I'm like I haven't done like any video stuff, and there is like a best answer. I just don't know it off the top of my head. Okay, so basically this is how we would have these subtitles. So these subtitles would have a timestamp, and we can say maybe like every 5 or 10 seconds there's like a new one of these, and then whatever thing we query for. So maybe for the subtitles, let me go and find it. Yeah. So this timestamp might have like a timestamp, and then we can say like timestamp start and a timestamp end or something. And basically, this would be a pretty efficient lookup in Postgres because we can just index a timestamp, and then if we do a range query, like because it's indexed, we can get it pretty quickly. And yeah, so this is how we're going to be stored subtitles. Once again, maybe there's something better, but it seems reasonable to me. Okay, so we need the video chunks as well. So this is basically going to be like, so for one thing, I guess, we don't really want to, so this definitely, like subtitles, you can argue maybe it's better to store it in like a blob storage or something. I feel like it doesn't matter too much. But video chunks, we definitely need to store in blob storage, right? We can't store the chunk in a Postgres database. So here we would need to have something like ID, video ID. And let's say for like, once again, for chunks, it's also kind of the same thing. There is some like optimal size for a chunk. I don't know it off the top of my head. So I'll just say the chunk is like a chunk of like 30 seconds of the video or something for this interview. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So basically we're going to have a timestamp here as well. So this will be like, this is the chunk that this thing is for. And then we'll say it's like 30 seconds. And then we need to have like a blob URL. And this is like where this chunk is actually stored in. So you can use S3 here. Okay. And we also need to have a resolution. So we're going to support like many resolutions. And this is basically how the chunk is going to be. We're not doing video processing here. So we're going to assume that this is already, we have this information. And all we really need to know is just get a timestamp, get a resolution. And then from there, we can get a blob URL based on all of this. This is also super fast. Because like we can index the things we're querying on. So this will be super fast. Okay. So coming back here, I think this gives me, oh yeah, we need the other last table, which is just the user sessions. So this is just like ID, user ID, video ID. And then we need to know like where we're at basically in the video. So time in video or timestamp as well. Okay. Okay. So I think this is everything. So let me go back to how this would work. So for a search, we want to search for a video, and then we actually want to get that video. And so actually, sorry, for search, we don't want to get the video. We want to get this like search results. So what that would look like basically is we call our search service with our query. It's going to query Elasticsearch and tell us like what are the relevant things we need to return. And then that thing will return back to us like a list of videos. It's not going to give us a video. It's going to give us a list of videos, and then we can just show that on the client. Does that make sense?
Yep. So could you tell me a little bit about how Elasticsearch works? You said that it's going to give you back necessary things we need.
Yeah, so Elasticsearch is good for things like, what's it called? Full text search. It's good for like what Postgres is bad at internally is if I want to do like, there's some unknown thing here, and then my query, and then some unknown thing here. Because this isn't very efficient in Postgres, you basically have to look up every single thing, and you have to say, like, is this actually in here? And so this is like very slow. So Elasticsearch is like better at that, where it can basically find like substrings very quickly. You can also have Elasticsearch. I think you can have a bunch of information about the movie, and then you can like search for all of those or parts of those, and it's like significantly faster. Also, the upside of searching Elasticsearch is it's not going to increase database load for Postgres because we're basically not using Postgres. The main problem with Elasticsearch is, like I said, we need to keep it in sync with our Postgres database, but because we're not like editing movies, this will always be in sync and it'll be fine. I don't know like super internal details of Elasticsearch, but yeah, it's basically like the two ways to search for things efficiently are either Elasticsearch or Postgres. If you just need to do like a substring, there is a Postgres index you can add to do a substring. It's called like PostGIS or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So does Elasticsearch connect to a database that you have, or does it have its own database where it's going to be?
It has its own. It has its own.
Okay.
Yeah. But you don't want to use it as your primary database. So typically it's like, you make a change in your primary database, there's like a change data capture that's like, if I make any relevant changes in Postgres that go here, you can notify Elasticsearch, and then Elasticsearch will update. But in our case, we never make any relevant changes that need to update it. So it will be some other service that will update it. Maybe some like movie upload or movie editor service or whatever. That's just like outside the scope of what we have. So maybe we'll have like some movie editor here or whatever this is, editor. And then this will actually use it, and then we can just use it for our queries. Does that make sense?
Yep, that makes sense.
Cool. Okay. So we got the search. So now we need to get the feed, which is our personalized feed. So I think here, thinking about it, we probably want to have another outside service, which is, like I said, I asked about this before, where like this personalization service is not going to be handled by us. So we can have like a personalization service. This will just be some like ML service that will give us, it'll have some API. You can basically query for a user, give me some like the things they want to do. And so it's going to be the same thing, client API gateway. We are going to call this service, and then we can just return what that service gives us. And then, yeah, does that part make sense?
Yeah. For getting the personalized feed, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Now, how do we
Okay.
handle giving the information to the personalized feed? To the you said the personalized
Um,
feed service, yeah.
how do we handle, sorry, what?
How do we handle giving? You mentioned a few things, events that you'd send over to the feed service,
Oh,
so
that's
they
right.
know.
Yes.
Yeah. So how would that
Yes.
work then?
Yeah. So basically, this would be anytime there's relevant info. So I think the things I mentioned are watch a video, right, and search. So what we need to do is, yeah. So what we need to do is we can have a message queue here. So we can use like Kafka. So basically, whenever relevant events to this service happen, what we can do is from the service we run this on, we can call this stuff. So for example, for the search, we can say like, hey, they searched for something. So throw this onto Kafka, and then the personalization service can pick those up. So you basically just have a Kafka topic that's like, this is the topic I'm going to be writing to, and the personalization service can listen for events on the topic. They can pick it up and they can do whatever they want. Now the other one is when a user clicks on a video. So because we don't handle like here directly, we're not going to be able to send them events. Actually, so this would work. I think for now this would work. So basically, the user clicks on personalization. We give them personalization. Yeah. So the other thing is the user clicks on a video. So I think we can make another thing here. So this is just like some kind of user interaction service or something. Maybe like not the best name. Maybe like video service or something. So basically, when a user clicks on a video to watch it, we are gonna call a get here to like make a session. So it's gonna come down here, and then we are also going to add an event to this Kafka that we will say like, hey, they just like this user just clicked on this video. It needs to be like ran out of aerospace like this, I guess. Okay. So does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
So
So
every I just want to recap. So every time an
yeah.
event happens, you're streaming this data to Kafka as an event,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have some sort of topic there that the personalization service will be listening to, and then
Mm-hmm.
we'll store that data and then process it and for the feed. And, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and this doesn't. So this is where I meant more in terms of the availability and consistency. In terms of like, if I click on a movie, like let's say I have nothing, and it's just like random top K movies or whatever. If I have nothing and I click on a movie, maybe that should that obviously should impact like what I want, right? Like if I click on some, I don't know, some action movie, it's like I probably like action movies, but we don't know how long this personalization service will take to like change their recommendations. So that's what I was saying. This is like more available instead of consistent. Like this personalization might not be up to date. So there's going to be like a delay here. As far as the exact delay, like I said, I don't do ML and I don't know like how this works exactly. So it depends how they do this. But there's like trade-offs there. Like, do I want to make it super accurate or do I want to have a change right away or whatever? But I think that's like kind of the main thing that I settled on is this won't be what's it called? Consistent, but it'll be available. Kafka's super durable. Events aren't dropped. So as long as the personalization service gets these events, they can do what they need to with this information.
That's fine. We don't have to go deep into how exactly it works, but
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned how fast the personalization is updated. Would you want that
Mm-hmm.
to be fast, or would you be okay with that being slow, and why?
Yes. So I think if I had to make it myself, I would want it to be very fast for the initial first things they do, right? So like if like whatever we give them, however we store this, like the first couple of movies they watch are going to be very relevant in what we give them. But after that, like if I've been on Netflix for a year, the thing I click on isn't really going to like make me do stuff, So I think I would try to make it in a way where it's very fast and like maybe not super accurate and kind of simple in the beginning. And then afterwards, it can have delays. So something simple as like, if their first movie is an action movie, maybe like 40% of the movies I'll give back to them will be action or something like that. Like, right, I'll just make some simple thing like that.
Okay.
I think that's the important thing, is like get them to roughly where they need to be very quickly. But then if I've been on Netflix for a year, 5 years, and I watch a movie, like it's not real, like my preferences don't really change, day to day. So yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay. So we have the personalized feed. Now we want to click on the videos and watch depending on internet connection. Okay, so when they click on the video and watch, basically what's going to happen here is we're going to go to our video service. And what we need to do is we need to get the relevant chunk of the video. Like I said, I'm not extremely familiar with chunking, so I'll just say we're going to return a 30-second chunk of the video. And what we're going to do is first for the video, we need to look up, I guess, where this chunk is at. So we need to call Postgres. Then we're going to get the blob URL. And then I think S3 can send directly back here I think is it a pre-send URL? I think you can give a pre-send URL for them to watch as well, right? Not only upload. Or am I not correct about that? I don't remember.
I know there
like
is
if the video is an
upload.
S3, we definitely want to do this.
From what I know, I think you can use a pre-signed URL for watching as well.
Okay, yeah, because what we don't want to do is we don't want to send the video back to the video service and then do this, because this is expensive and this is the thing that with scale will kill us. So we definitely just want to send it straight back to the client. And this is basically what will happen. So we're going to get the the relevant URL and we're going to send it back to the client. And basically the way this is going to work, the way I'm thinking about it is as we're watching the video, we're going to keep polling for this thing. So like, let's say we watch some movie, movie A, and we get 30-second chunks. So probably like at 15 seconds, we want to get the next chunk, or maybe we'll give them maybe they'll get the first few chunks. I think actually these chunks are probably in reality smaller than 30 seconds, but I don't know the exact time. There's like some optimal time, and I don't want to go into super detail on that. But basically, the client is gonna as they're at some timestamp in the video, keep polling us for this, give us the next chunk. And the other thing I think the client can do internally is get their video resolution, or not their video resolution, get their internet connection speed. So the client can basically on some loop get query connection speed, and we can maintain this. And every time we get a chunk, we also will figure out the what resolution we want based on their connection speed. So there's probably some math thing there. And whenever their connection speed drops, we will basically just say, hey, they dropped. So instead of getting this resolution, now we can get the smaller one. And then that way we're always getting chunks of the current resolution they're on. So that way, if their resolution goes up or down, we can adjust accordingly. We can always give them the best quality that they can support. Does that make sense?
Yep, that makes sense.
Okay. And I think here, yeah. And then the other thing we need to do is as they query this thing, so as we give them the next chunk, we also need to, they're also going to call us to update the session. So maybe it'll be 2 requests. Maybe you could optimize into 1, but essentially every 30 seconds, they're just going to call us to get the what's it called? To update the user session. So, when they're on 30 seconds, they're going to make a post to us or a patch to us saying hey, the user is on this thing now. And then the other thing is we need to get the subtitles. And the subtitles we can basically do as well. So they can just call us to get the subtitles. So it'll just be this get thing. And then on the client, they can put the subtitle. Once again, I don't know how subtitles work in a video, how you add them together. But I'm assuming if you have the text and the video, you can put it in there somehow on the client.
Okay.
And I think that's how that will work. So basically, they're going to keep polling us for new chunks, for new subtitles, and to update their user session. And then this will handle they'll be able to continue watching. And then once the movie is over, they're going to call us again saying, hey, the user session or whatever, they can call a delete user session, and then we'll basically delete the user session. And then that way, when they get their feed again, there won't be a session. So it won't say continue watching. It'll just say watch it again. Yeah. I guess we're not really handling watch it again, but there will be a continue or just brand new movies. something like that.
Okay, that makes sense. Sounds good.
Okay, so oh yeah, go ahead.
No, 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 nothing else. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so we probably need to think about like the actual scale problems and like how we scale each of these parts. So I guess I can start with our services. So I think our services here are stateless. So we don't need to know what, we don't need to know basically what the, uh, like, we don't really care what user connects to each of our services, right? We're not storing any information about them. Maybe the better way would do this with like sockets or something. I'm not sure, but the way I did this anyway with just like normal requests, we can basically just scale these things like as much as we want, right? So we can just have a bunch of these, like we whatever, like something, and it doesn't matter what user connects. Any user can get any information. Same thing here. So we can just like make more pods of these things if they're too small. S3 is infinitely scalable. Postgres, we can shard. So we want to think about like the shard key. So I guess thinking about what makes the most sense, sharding on videos doesn't really make sense. Well, so I guess let's think about it actually. So we have users and we have videos, and videos don't have users. So I think we probably want to shard on video ID would make the most sense. Now, this can be a little problematic because maybe some videos are more popular than others. And I'll talk about that. But for now, we can basically shard on video ID. This will kind of like evenly distribute stuff out. But obviously, if there are super popular videos, some like shards will get hit a lot more than others. Kafka is also, you can partition Kafka like as much as you want. You can have like as many topics as you want. Elasticsearch, I think, also kind of scales itself. I don't know it super well. And then the other thing is, so we want to think about what happens with hot videos, right? Like someone's watching a ton of these videos and we have to keep getting this stuff. So I think we want to introduce, the simplest thing is just have a cache for like searching this video stuff. So we can have a cache here and we can use like Redis or something for searching, for getting video, like video information basically. So we can have a cache here, and then that way we don't have to keep querying our database for the relevant chunk. We can just query Redis. So for example, if like K-pop Demon Hunters or whatever comes out, everyone's watching this thing, we can get all these like resolution and like all this info very quickly here, and video subtitles on all this stuff. And then we can get the S3 URL and quickly send that to the user. And because S3 is basically infinitely scalable, like we don't have to worry about that. Okay. The other thing you can do is, because users are all over the place, you can probably have CDNs as well. So I think because videos are, so I don't have like super like high knowledge of CDNs, but basically CDNs, you can put them like closer to users, and then you can it's also like a cache, and it's something you want to have data in there that you don't update very often. So something that would make sense is maybe S3 is like all over the place. Maybe we can actually also store, so we can have a CDN here, and we can store like common movies as well, like common movie stuff. So for example, subtitles or like the relevant chunks or things like that. And I think that would basically, I'm not sure if there's any other things you want me to focus on exactly.
Okay, so is this all for your scale?
Yes.
Okay. I just had one question to do with, since we're on the topic of CDNs, how would you handle spikes?
How would I handle spikes? Oh, to like a particular section?
Like a particular movie, it's release night. Everybody's waiting for this movie. This movie's out now. Everybody is looking at that movie.
Mm-hmm.
How would we handle that?
Yeah, so like I said, Redis would handle part of that because we're going to be able to get very quickly like the actual where this movie is, right? We don't have to query the database because like this will just keep getting hit over and over. And Redis is super fast. So because it's like in memory and it's super fast. Also for CDN, basically, yes, everyone's like watching the movie, but these these people are all over the place, right? So you basically have a CDN near where people are. Like, maybe there's someone in Asia, so you have like a CDN there. It's like CDN, like someone in Europe, you have a CDN there. So that would kind of handle, like we're gonna put the super popular stuff, right? So like movie released or whatever. Released. And this will basically make the request shorter, and it will be like as fast as we can get it. I don't know how CDN scalability works. I'm guessing you can just have more in some region, like depending on where people are. Yeah, like I don't know. Like I said, I don't know it super well, but I think these are the common like ways to do it. Basically, is here there would be the common stuff, and then the stuff that like no one cares about. We don't need to store in a CDN. We can just have a normal approach of querying the database and so on.
Okay, but then what if we had a movie that was very popular but now isn't very popular at all? Like
Right.
would we still keep that in the CDN, or what would that be like?
No, we wouldn't. So we basically want to have like updates. So with a cache, that gets handled like by itself, right? Like if we just have like an LRU or LFU or whatever, there's cache invalidation. Things that aren't popular will just go away. In a CDN, I don't know how CDN updates work in detail. So I'm guessing there's also something like that here, where you can have like a CDN update strategy. But I don't know in detail how that works, because I haven't set up CDNs, I guess, before. But there definitely has to be something that exists for it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. You can go ahead.
Okay.
Now the client is hitting this API gateway.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what if this gateway dies?
So I think for an API gateway, I mean, if the gateway dies or service is down and there's nothing you can do, I think that's just like something you accept. But if you have like an AWS managed or something API gateway, it's like very, very reliable. So I think this is a concern we can almost never like run into in practice. But yeah, in reality, like if your main place that gets requests dies, like your service is down, right? So there's nothing you can do. It's like Cloudflare being down and like everything uses Cloudflare or something.
Okay.
So I don't think there's like a workaround here, but it's very, very durable to begin with. So it's basically, it's like, what if S3 dies? Like, I don't think it's a concern.
Okay. All right. And the personalization service is what if that one dies now?
Yeah. So if the personalization service dies, so we can't get our feed, right? Now we can cache feeds, but caching is not really good per user. You want to cache things that are actually accessed a lot. So caching every user's feed is like not great. So I guess basically this feed is, yeah. So I think what we can do is we can actually store it in either Redis or a DB. I think either one seems reasonable. Maybe Redis is, well, actually no, because if you store in Redis, there'd be a ton. If we store it in a DB, there would also be a ton. But I guess, yeah, either one's fine. So basically the solution here is this personalization service can write its result. Like once things get updated, it can write its result to some kind of like probably RDB or Redis. And then instead of querying here, we will just query like this. And then that way, even if the service is dead, we have like, here's the last thing that the user had. It won't be updated, but we'll still always have it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. But I was thinking more of like a failover mechanism, like a backup strategy for if this specific. Because right now you didn't put beside it the 1000x, so I'm looking at one instance of the personalization service. Will there be one instance, or would it be multiple instances?
Oh no, yeah, that can also just scale, like, yeah. Like it depends what parts it is, but the user facing part where we can get stuff, that can just keep scaling. Yeah.
Okay.
So we can have, oh, I see what you're saying. So you're basically, yeah, so we can scale this, and then basically like if a pod dies, the way it works in like Kubernetes or whatever is like if a pod dies, a new one gets spun up and it gets replaced. Or if a pod's like not working, you can go and like turn it off and like it'll add new ones. And then there's like auto scaling. You can also figure out like how much what's it called? How much need you need, and you can set up things like that. But yeah, I don't think it's very realistic for like all of your pods to die, right? So if like one dies, yeah, it just
Yep.
gets replaced.
Yep. That's fine. That's perfectly fine for that. But now how do we have these all these instances of the personalization service? How do we choose which one to use?
So I don't think it matters because I think it's like if they have user facing, actually it would look more like this realistically. So they would have their own DB, right? Whatever this is. So they're going to query DB, and basically all we're doing is like giving a user uh, get the personalized stuff. So it doesn't matter which one we use. Like we can call anyone because they're probably going to store some info in a DB to give back to us. So because this is stateless, we can call anyone.
Okay. By what you're saying, we can call anyone. We could end up then querying the same instance a lot of times, and that can get overloaded. Is there
Oh no,
any?
because there's going to be like we have an API gateway,
Mm-hmm.
but also we have like there's like a load balancer. I guess
Okay.
like here we can have like a load balancer or something. So generally, if you have a bunch of these, it's going to spread it. It's going to spread it out. In yeah, so
Yeah,
something
that's
like that.
that's what I was thinking, more of a load balancer there.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what kind of algorithm would that load balancer be using to select which one to use? Would it be a round robin style, like just pick any over and over again, or what are you thinking?
So once again, because I don't think it matters too much, you can do round robin. You can do like there's a bunch. You can do one that's like least recently called or something. Round robin's also reasonable. Like randomize one. I don't think it matters too much.
Okay.
I don't think in this case there's like a best thing to do.
Okay. Okay. Cool. No problem. And what about, okay? You said with the PostgreSDB we're sharding. Now, what if this user is in Ireland and the entire of Ireland, the whole region of Europe goes down? What is going to happen to the client when he tries to go watch a movie?
Okay, so this user's in Ireland, and so realistically, we probably want to have, because we're sharding the video, we probably want to have two DBs. Like we probably not want to have user info in a separate one because we're sharding on video here. This is all video. So I think we probably want to have a separate DB for users. So this can be whatever. Let's just say Postgres again. So your question was like, yeah, and then we could basically shard the user. We could shard users on ID. So that would, because you can have like a billion users, and then you could shard that. Um, so your question is like, if the user is in Ireland and Ireland goes down, so can you say what you mean there specifically? Like, how would
Okay.
Ireland, like, what in particular would go down?
What if all of these, so currently we have all these instances in a region, or are these spread across regions? That's what I'm thinking.
I see. So you
I
could do
see.
this different ways. You can have, like, I think as you get insane scale, you can have all of these in a region, or you could have them spread across. It's probably better for something like Netflix to have all of these in every region, I would think, because so there's upsides and downsides, I guess. Like if you have movies all over the place and these are in every region, then you have to like keep them all in sync. Um, so what you can do is you can have them in a region, and then it's easier to update. But I think for Netflix scale, you probably want to have a lot of these in every region. So you're basically saying like if this is in Ireland and this goes down,
Mm-hmm.
okay, um, then you probably want to connect them to the closest region near them. But because this is stored in, if this is in Ireland, all of their info would go down, right? Because like their info is in Ireland if we do it this way. Um,
You said, okay, we can just, are we saying we can have this whole thing just in another region?
yes, I'm trying to think if that would be good or not.
Okay.
I think because here there's a decent amount of like uh, cross stuff, like movie information, user information, things like that. I think we probably want to have some things in some regions and then some things that are just like not region specific, so that way like the whole thing can't go down. I think like for example, a CDN can go down in Ireland or something, but I think this in general we probably don't want to have. I mean, once again, I've never done like full globe thing, and usually all the stuff I do is like US. But I would assume you probably don't want to have this everywhere, and because it's going to be very hard to keep in sync and like get data and all this stuff. So I think you want to have it in a couple places and have the things that are relevant to their region be in their region, like a CDN. So realistically, I think what would happen is like the CDN would go down, and then it would be slower, but we still have another path to get information. Like we still have a cache, we still have S3, and things like that. So it would be running slower, but I don't think like basically this whole thing wouldn't go down in Ireland. It's like a part of it. Like the CDN, I think would go down in Ireland. If that makes sense.
Okay, yeah. Well, so are you saying we would still keep certain things in the same region? Is that what you said?
Yeah, so we wouldn't have all of this in every region. We would only have some parts in every region, and the
Okay.
rest of it would just be a universal thing, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because there's
Then
so much, it's going to be very hard to have all of these things everywhere and be in sync.
okay, and when you say this in sync thing, is our main focus here uh consistency or availability? Because
Availability.
yeah, so because why I say this is now, what if there was a power outage in the whole region of Europe? Is what I'm saying. These are all in Europe. A power outage in the whole region of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Someone is on their laptop connected to their mobile hotspot and they're trying to go on Netflix. What's
Mm-hmm.
gonna happen? What's gonna happen?
So I think what needs to happen is we need to route them to the closest region. Like if there's servers all over the place, this would be like a routing thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
There would be like some servers all over the place. So we basically need to route them to the closest available server that's not their region if it's down. Something
Okay.
like that would be the answer there.
Okay. Cool. Yep, that's fine. That's good. All right. Um. Then I assume the movie editor, that's a service as well, right?
Yes.
So that's gonna be just scaled in the same way.
Yeah, all of these, yeah, you can
All
scale
these can be
this
scaled the
the
same.
same way. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. All right. All right. All right. Okay. Now, okay, that sums up most for this for the most part. But my question
Mhm.
is, if you had, let's say, like 6 more months to design this, what would you add? Like, what are a few more things you would add?
Okay. Let me think.
You just have to discuss it. No need to draw anything. Just
Yeah, yeah.
share. Mhm.
So definitely the like the continue movie. Like right now we just do the top 5 by timestamp. There's I mean, I guess it also depends on like are we focusing on any personalization or are we leaving that as a black box?
Uh, I guess we can focus on that too. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so I think definitely the continue movie something there's probably something better than just like the most recent 5 movies or something. Also like yeah, so what I'd want to do realistically is for all of these things like I was like I don't know the answer, right? Like I don't like for chunking for example, I was like I don't know what's good. So what I would want to do realistically is like have it collect user data um and then basically see like what works. So maybe one approach can be like A/B test a lot of these things. Like maybe with one of these send chunks of like different sizes, another one send chunks of other sizes, and see what works better.
Hmm.
Also with personalization, I think user data is like very important here. So we want to see like, okay, we'll have some set of users have this algorithm, some set of users have this algorithm, and like which one works better. So this can be like a constantly improving thing.
Okay.
I think. Let me look through any other parts of it. Yeah, I'd also want to actually see. I think a lot of this would be like it's hard for me to know now. I think it would be more like see the experience, see what users are complaining about, and like solve issues as they come along. For example, like our chunks might be too big. Like our query connection thing might not be super good. Where like they have a chunk and it's like frozen. Um, yeah, I'm not really seeing too many things that I would know right now. I think it would more just like be iterative in my opinion. Like and then also see like so when we're actually running this, like what actually crashes and how do we fix those things? So for example, maybe like Kafka is down, like Kafka can go down. And then like how do we handle that? How do we ensure that doesn't happen? Or this thing that you mentioned, like what happens if Ireland goes down? Like do we handle that effectively? Yeah, things like that. So I think it would mostly be like iterative.
Okay. That sounds good. That sums up everything for the interview. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Thank you guys for watching, and Hope you guys found this enjoyable, and see you guys next time.